Thank you very much. Can I begin by thanking Learning Disability Alliance Scotland for inviting me to this conference to celebrate what has been a year-long programme of the Stronger Together initiative. It's an absolute pleasure to be here with you today. I've been hearing about some of the activities we've been engaged in over the morning. It seems it's been a very fun and engaging event, of course dealing with some serious subject matter, and I think we've just seen that demonstrated very vividly through the drama and song that we have just witnessed. And although it was obviously, I think there was a fair degree of fun involved in the process, I recognise we're obviously a very serious message contained within, and I can assure you, so long as I hold this ministerial office, I will always be very willing to listen to that message. I'm very impressed with the imaginative and creative ways in which you have engaged in this celebration of participation at today's event. Representatives have been very positive to see this in practice. In my short time in office thus far, I have already had the opportunity to see how other learning disability organisations engage with ministers, local government and other stakeholders to ensure that people with learning disabilities are heard and involved in national and local discussions. I've been very impressed by everyone's passion and determination to have their voice heard. This Scottish Government is committed to a fairer and more equal society in which participation, prosperity and fairness are the three key priorities. This celebration is a great example, of course, of how this can be achieved for people with learning disabilities. It helps them to be more involved directly in the things that affect their lives. And another example of participation is in how we are seeking to deliver the Keys to Life, the national policy for learning disability. We're working with learning disability organisations, the Scottish Consortium for Learning Disability, and enable an informed and expert group for people with learning disabilities from across Scotland. The expert group will help inform how we deliver the expected outcomes from the Keys to Life. The Keys to Life and self-direct support policies are based on the principles of people with learning disabilities being at the heart of national policy. We know that living an independent life is important to everyone, and that's no different for people with learning disabilities. I don't know if I'm doing this today. I'm not doing it on purpose. However, having said that, we emphasise the importance of living an independent life being important to people with learning disabilities. We have to recognise that this means that people should have the same choice and control in their lives as other people, and having the right help and support to be an active part of their communities. The legislation on self-direct support, which came into force on the 1st of April last year, it gives people with learning disabilities more choice and control over their day-to-day lives. And I would like to take this opportunity to highlight to you the Charter for Involvement, which was launched by the National Involvement Network. I was very delighted to speak at an event at the Scottish Parliament which highlighted this positive work, and I'm sure that some of you may have been at that event that evening as well. The Charter includes 12 statements which show how people want to be more involved in things that affect their lives. It's a great tool to enable more collaborative work to happen between councils and other service providers. The themes you've explored today, having enough money to live on, getting a service, making real choices and good quality of service, are issues that the government recognises. We need to work with people with learning disabilities, and Learning Disability Alliance Scotland to work on solutions together. Many of the issues are, of course, with this government's control, and I'll maybe turn to that in a second in relation to welfare reform, but we are working hard to secure more powers to benefit the people of Scotland. And having mentioned welfare reform, let me recognise that this is an important issue for Learning Disability Alliance Scotland. It's been an important issue for the Scottish Government as well. I'm acutely aware that the impact of the UK Government's welfare reforms will affect the most vulnerable in Scotland, including those with learning disabilities. Where we have responsibility, we are investing to try and support vulnerable people. Our current and planned funding it will result in an investment of around £296 million over 3 years to try and help limit the damaging effect of the UK Government's welfare reforms. I understand you've discussed today how care charges can vary from council to council. Charges can be high and they are hard to, it can be hard to understand how they work, and information is not always an easy to read format. It's COSLA, that's the Convention of Scottish Local Authorities, issues revised guidance on these changes to local authorities each year. The guidance recommends a consistent framework for charging and encourages councils to demonstrate that in arriving at charges they have followed best practice. The Keys to Life highlights that health and social care partnerships that people with learning disabilities should also be supported to live independently in the community wherever possible. To deliver the necessary changes to improve services, it requires partnership working on joint commissioning by statutory organisations. However, to deliver the changes necessary, they need to involve the third sector and, most importantly, people with learning disabilities themselves and their carers to ensure that developments actually make a difference on the ground. We face significant challenges in public funding at a time when the shape of our population is changing in a way that means there is more demand for services. To meet these challenges, we need to ensure that services are tailored to individual needs and help people achieve their goals in life. The Keys to Life sets out a vision for improved partnership working to deliver better outcomes for people with learning disabilities, their families and carers. Being stuck at home doesn't lead to a good quality of life, and the Keys to Life wants to ensure that people with learning disabilities have more opportunities. Day opportunities are also an important part of support arrangements, especially for individuals with more complex needs. It is essential that services and staff continue to develop person-centred approaches that enable people to make choices and follow activities that are meaningful to them. The Scottish Government is also committed to helping people with learning disabilities who want to work, and it's our ambition that with the right support they are able to find work in mainstream employment suitable to their skills. That is why the Keys to Life recommends that we will work with the key stakeholders to develop a range of supported employment opportunities for people with learning disabilities. I hope attending today's conference has given you the chance to catch up with old friends and perhaps meet new ones. We know that relationships are very important. Being around other people encourages people with learning disabilities to develop social skills, helps them to make friends and be part of the community. The Keys to Life aims to ensure that people with learning disabilities are valued and accepted in their communities. Last year there were a number of local events held to bring people together to form friendships, and we will continue to support this work. The Scottish Government is committed to supporting people to live safely within their community, to lead full and rewarding lives, free from bullying and harassment. We're working with other policy areas to coordinate activity on hate crime and to reduce prejudice in communities for people with learning disabilities. So I hope that's given a flavour of this Government's priority, the areas we consider particularly important. We will of course always be willing to work with others and to hear their perspective. And I'd like to end by thanking you for inviting me along to today's event, and I look forward to working closely with Learning Disability Alliance Scotland and other learning disability organisations to improve the lives of people with learning disabilities, and I'd be very happy to take a few questions. That's not a problem.